Attention, all of my elevated content seekers. We Believe Digital is designed to inspire. Whether it's music, news, entertainment, We Believe Digital has the content that you don't want to miss. We're bringing you the best in news, entertainment, sports, inspiration, and so much more. Not only are we designed to inspire, but you can advertise with us and reach your target audience now. Got something that you believe in? Well, we believe in you, and we're offering you the opportunity to become a podcaster at We Believe Digital Studios. To become a want to know more? You can contact us at www.webelievedigital.com. And while you're at it, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Roku at We Believe Digital.
And welcome to Doc and Sock. This is our first Wednesday edition. Now, we were on Monday night at 5:30, and now we're on Wednesdays at 5:30, and we're looking forward to coming to you Fridays at 5:30. There's so much happening in the great state of Mississippi until it's difficult for us to deal with all of the information just one night per week or one day per week. So we thought that we would challenge ourselves to bring you more relevant news on a more frequent basis. Now, if you're watching us on Facebook, then go on and subscribe to the program. Our subscriber numbers are growing every day. Send us stars and share the program with your friends and family. If you're over on YouTube, subscribe to the program. Hit the notification bell so that you won't miss any of these great shows. You know, eventually we're going to bring you a 6 o'clock news hour from all over the state of Mississippi, specializing and focusing on the Black diaspora. And that would be Congressman Benny Thompson's district as we know it today. Even though the state of Mississippi is involved and in with redistricting, you know, now that they've done it in Texas and Louisiana, we are looking at the possibilities of redrawing the lines for Congressman Thompson's. It's called the Benny Thompson Removal Act here in Mississippi. Now, you can find us on anywhere you get your podcasts, you're streaming from, whether it's on Twitch, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. You can find us almost anywhere. Now, as always, my co-host is one of the most Jewish men in the state of Mississippi. He's an author, he's a speaker, and he is the most sought after person in the state. So it's good to see you this afternoon, Doc. How have you been?
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've been doing well, and I intend to continue to do well. I just signed a 10-year contract in January to work in media, and I know I have 9.5 months to do it. And since I don't ever believe in giving up, I'm going to then sign a 5-year contract. And after then, a 3-year contract, and then I'll be through with media on a paid basis. Then I'll do some volunteer work for about 3 years and just fade away.
Well, Doc, soldiers never die. They do fade away, but they never die. And so I know that you will be with us a long, long time sharing the great knowledge that you've acquired over the years. Now, Doc, I believe you were born on a plantation in the Mississippi Delta.
That's correct.
How did you get from that plantation to here today?
Well, it was easy. I was in the Delta for about 2 weeks, and my parents moved me to Hinds County, Mississippi. That's central Mississippi, on another plantation. And I lived there for 17 years on the second plantation. And now we own some of that land.
Wow. Now, Doc, our children don't know anything about a routine day when you own a plantation. What was the day like? What time did you start and stop? And what happened during the day? Where did you eat? And how much you get paid?
Well, during the time when I came along for the first 15 years, I didn't get paid. I worked with my parents, And I had a day like this. We get up at the rising of the sun, when I was about 5 years old. And we will have to go out and get wood for the fireplace. If it's wintertime, during the summer, we had to get wood for the kitchen so mom could cook a full breakfast. We had to take care of the cows and the pigs, milk the cows, feed the pigs, go and see if we could find any eggs out there in the coop. And that was about 6 o'clock then. And we then would eat breakfast and prepare to go to work. Then at age 6, we started to elementary school, and I would do the same thing. And then we walked to school 5 miles one way with a lunch bucket with a sausage or bacon sandwich in it and a biscuit. And we would take it to school and put it on a shelf. And if it was wintertime, we'd have to make a fire first at the school in an old fireplace or stove. Didn't have any running water, had an outhouse that didn't work properly. And we enjoyed that school because we didn't have to work until about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. After we got out of school, we went directly back to work and worked until sunset. Now, those first 15 years, I didn't make any money. I was just a slave on that plantation working for my parents. My dad didn't make any money. And the little he earned through his sharecropping situation, he had to pay 1/4 to the owner of the plantation. And then he paid his debt out of his 2/3, which was always never completed because he couldn't make enough money to pay his debt. And that was good for the plantation because he would always tell my dad, well, you did real good, Cleo. You did real good. So you just stay here and we're going to help you until next year and maybe you do better. That went on for 15 years. And after I turned 17, I finally had a chance to get off that plantation. My dad and mom bought some land right up the road, and things started looking better. But prior to that time, some of you all have heard me say before, I did have a job on the plantation when I turned 16. I was going to be given a wonderful job doing fence, building hay stocks, catching cows, doing anything that I was told to do for $2 a day. And the good thing about it, and I just like to tell this story, that was very important because I was told if I worked out well, I could get a used car from the dealership downtown in a place called Raymond, Mississippi, and I could pay for that car out of that $2 a day. And if I did well, I would be given a house. And I could get me a house, live on the plantation like my parents, and just enjoy my life. Now, they didn't talk about school and education because I was fortunate enough then to have finished middle school, got an 8th grade education. And I just like to tell this story, Socrates, because when I finished middle school with the 8th grade education, something happened that changed my life, and I was very upset. I was told they had a school in Clinton, Mississippi for black kids, and it was a public school from 9th through 12th grade. And my parents made me forget about that job I had, forget about my car, forget about the house I was promised, and say, you better go to high school the first year or two, and you might stay there long enough to finish. And, you know, I messed around and had to force myself to do that against my will just to please my parents. And I think that was a good decision.
Well, Doc, you were blessed to have those kind of parents and surviving that humble beginning. Booker T. Washington said, it's not the depths, it's not the heights that you obtained, but it's the depths from which you came. And starting out on a plantation, your achievement will equal anybody in America, Doc. What you've been able to make of yourself and what you are able to contribute to society from that humble beginning, we salute you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, we're in Mississippi, and we're on more than once a week now because things just keep happening in our great state of Mississippi. And today in Jackson, Mississippi, it is reported that a woman was found hanging in the backyard of a vacant house. in Jackson, Mississippi in 2026, we still have black folk being hung here in Mississippi. Now, Doc, that's got to bring back some memories and a time in your life which you'd rather forget.
Well, that's true. But I know I will never forget it because we're going to continue to have hangings, rapes, castrations, murders, suicides, drive-bys, as long as we have human beings in the world. Most people know and don't want to admit, Socrates, that mankind hates each other, collectively and individually, racial and non-racial. They just hate each other. Certain groups would kill themselves at a drop of a hat. There are other groups that would kill other groups for no reason whatsoever, just because they dislike them. And then there are others who will bomb you and do anything they can to discredit you as a human being, put you in prison for something they frame you for, and say there's nothing wrong with it. And when they get involved in the same criminal activity, since they know the judge, the lawyers, the high people in industry, they don't even spend a day in jail, and they might get $10 million, $100 million. And my folks will steal 10 or 15,000 or be given 10 or 15,000 through a bribe situation. And they might lose everything they have, including the family, their licenses, certifications, and anything else they have. And many times you find they do this because they want to be put out of the way. So they won't be able to prosecute or deal with the people that's actually taking the money, doing the stealing, which they have no regret, and they get away with it. But as the Bible says, Socrates, a time will come when there will be change all under the sun.
Well, I don't know when that time is coming, but it's been this way too long in Mississippi. Now, Doc, they say that the body has been turned over to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office, where an autopsy will be performed to determine the cause and manner of death. But now, Doc, on Monday, we talked about the Nolan Wells case and that the body was turned over to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office, and they were unable to determine the cause of death. So do you have any confidence in the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office?
Yes, I have confidence in them, and they will probably do what they have always done. They're going to first see if they can determine that it was a suicide. And if they can't find that it's a suicide, they're going to say, without a lot of strong investigation, that it must have been an accident. She probably had some kind of mental issues, and she accidentally killed herself.
Doc, do you think someone can accidentally hang themselves? That doesn't seem possible to me. Hanging is a incident that requires a tremendous amount of effort to get yourself elevated up, to tie a noose around your neck, and then jump off or something and hang yourself. Doc, that's no accident.
Well, it might not be an accident, but I've seen and read about it for at least 75 years in Mississippi, in a lot of southern states where people committed suicide. In most cases, you didn't find a bucket. There was no tree or anything else for them to stand on, but the ruling was they committed suicide.
Now, Doc,
and that was the end of it.
And no, that can't be the end of it. And that's one of the reasons that we're on here today, is because it can't be the end of it. Now, we had a young man that was hung up in the Mississippi Delta around your hometown where you came from, Mr. Reed, not long ago, on a student at the Valley State University. Now we got Nolan Wells that's missing, goes out on the 4th of July with his friends, his Caucasian friends, and he never returns. The body is found floating in the ocean on the 6th of July, and nobody knows what happens to him, Doc, and nobody has been charged with a crime. And so these kind of things, which I thought I never thought we were in a post-racial society, but I didn't think we would see as much activity that we cannot explain that's going on now, like we are seeing here today, with the hanging of a woman in the backyard, with the hanging of the student up in the Delta, with Mr. Wells' body being. What's going on, Doc?
Well, there's nothing going on that's new. Now, I was reading just yesterday about this Reed case, and it is alleged that he had some kinds of personal problems. And according to the information I've read, he probably committed suicide. They have nothing to say that he didn't, according to the investigation. You read that report yourself, and you will find that no one has been accused of committing his murder. And you are not going to find that unless they have an independent investigation by someone with the skill and the will to do so. But it takes so much money to do that, unless the parents get thousands and thousands of dollars and have good attorneys. That won't happen. It will not happen.
Well, Doc, we continue to grapple with this 21-year-old. A young man was 21 years old. Trey Reed, that's what he was called, a black student at Delta State University, who was found hanging from a tree September the 15th, 2025, on the university's campus in Cleveland, Mississippi. The cause of death has been ruled a suicide and with no foul play suspected. So black folk are just hanging themselves down here in Mississippi.
They have been doing that according to the reports for years, at least 300 or 400 years. And even when they are caught on camera being hanged, you find that no one would be prosecuted for that. And there are many newspaper accounts in the local newspapers in the state of Mississippi and in the southern states where you have birthday parties, Christmas parties, church parties at these hangings, and people be there in suits and tie, including the local preachers and the police. And they have these public murders, and you can't find not one case in Mississippi or the South or anywhere in the nation where there were significant investigations where someone was accused of killing those folks. Now, when they had retaliation by blacks, when that happened, now the blacks will be picked up and they will be accused of having weapons and accused of defending themselves. And many times they will get prison sentences for just having a gun, defending themselves. But the people that killed them and tried to kill them never had to go to trial. Now, that is justice in Mississippi, in the South, and in the nation. That is part of the Constitution. That's what happened when you exclude it as a non-entity, as a non-person in the Constitution of the respective states.
Doc, that's Southern justice. Mississippi has been burning. We talked about it on Monday, and we again talking about Mr. Nolan Wells. But I want to remind our viewers to look at the young man, Mr. Reed, on the screen. Now, Doc, looking at that individual on the screen, doesn't look like somebody that would hang themselves, Doc.
You're right about that. It doesn't.
It looks like a normal young black man, and certainly with full life ahead of him. And so if you're going to commit suicide, you don't choose hanging as a way to do it. I mean, you can shoot yourself in the head with a 38 and get it over with, but hanging, you're going to struggle with that for a while. That's a terrible way to go, Doc.
I think it is.
They abandoned that even in the state of Mississippi in favor of the gas chambers, electrical execution rather than hanging, because it's such a horrible incident. Does that man look like he hung himself to you?
It doesn't look like that to me. But I tell you, you let the state officials tell you, you see that he did, in their opinion, according to their investigation and autopsy reports.
Do you have any confidence in the state examiner's office, which cannot even bring a cause of death for Nolan Wells? And this happened on July the 4th. This is now August 5. Do you have confidence in the people you're talking about?
None whatsoever, not zero confidence. I expect these things to happen until later. Things will change.
How many people were convicted of the murder of Vernon Damer and Medgar Evers in Mississippi? Yeah. How many did our same law enforcement and a medical examiner, did they ever indict anybody in those murders?
No, not to my knowledge.
And the 3 civil rights workers up in Philadelphia that was buried in the dam, did they hang? Did they bury themselves?
No indictments. They said they were gone out of state until they found them. Then they couldn't find out whether they were murdered or not. So I guess they did try to hide from the police, went into that dam that they were building, that pond or so whatever, and probably tried to hide. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the police did say that they were in the dirt trying to hide and it caved in on them.
Wow.
It didn't happen by their friend.
You can have a great imagination. To the engineer and our affiliates on the line, we're going to take a station ID in 20 minutes at a 20-minute mark. So engineer, just let us know and we'll key it up, give them all notices that we're going to break. But when we come back, we're going to deal with Nolan Wells' situation. And we're going to have another subject here that we're going to try to get to. And that's a black bear has been spotted in the state of Mississippi. We're going to commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Have you had your Earthblend coffee today? At Earthblend Coffee, we take pride in offering you the very best of beans across the world, blended and roasted to perfection, giving you superior quality and satisfying and flavorful taste. Experience the world in one cup with Earthblend Coffee.
To order, visit earthblendcoffee.co now.
Great day to be working with the We Believe Digital Network. Oh, hey, what's going on? How you doing? I wasn't expecting you to be here yet, but since you're here, hey, welcome to the We Believe Digital Network. We make your dreams come true. We have a podcast station and a radio station that I'm about to show you. Come on inside. Okay, so now that you're inside, let me take you into the room where we make all the magic happen, right here in the We Believe Digital podcast and radio station studio itself. Alrighty, y'all ready? Let's go. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes room of the We Believe Digital podcast, where all the podcast and engineering happens when we make all the magic happen. I am your engineer, head engineer, JB. How you doing? Hope all is well. Currently right now at the We Believe Digital Network, we have a deal going on for $99 an hour studio sessions. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Let us know if you want it. And reach out to your team and we'll build your dream. Have a good one. Oh, come on in. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes of the We Believe Digital radio station, where everything We Believe Digital radio takes place. I am currently mixing and mastering a playlist for the radio station. Speaking of that, if you have any suggestions or even your own songs or podcasts or talk shows that you might want to be featured right here on the radio station, you can email us at webelieveplatforms@gmail.com. Hey, feel like your voice needs to be heard? Ever wanted to be on your own podcast or even be a part of one? Guess what? You now can right here at the We Believe Digital Network, but we'll make it happen. You can catch us at this email, at this location, and this phone number.
We're back. This is the Doc and Sock Show, and we're broadcasting live from right here in Jackson, Mississippi, in the heart of the Deep South. And we've been dealing with some issues that are not easy to deal with. We covered in our first segment the issues of multiple hangings in Mississippi, and no one seems to understand who committed the crime, whether it was inflicted or whether it was done by the hands of others. And we just have too much of that activity going on. And Mississippi is already in the headlines all over the world. Everybody is looking at Mississippi because of the unresolved death of Nolan Wells, an 18-year-old young black male athlete in great shape, goes out with 4 of his Caucasian friends on July the 4th on a boat, and Mr. Wells doesn't come home. 2 days later, his body is found floating in the ocean. Now, Doc, we don't understand how our children are able to cope in this society. We tell them that integration is great, that you need to get along with everybody, and the churches preach you got to love everybody, love your enemies, love everyone. But when a mother's son doesn't come home, Doc, that's a horrible feeling. That's probably the worst nightmare any parent can ever experience, to find her son floating in the ocean.
Yeah, I would think it would be. It's something that's very depressing, especially when there's no reason for her not to think that he wouldn't come back home. According to all the accounts, those boys knew each other. They had been hanging around for years. I understand that the young man was a promising football player, and he had some great interest in some great things, I would think. I bet he was probably telling himself and been told by others that he would probably be a professional football player one day. You know, that's what they tell our kids if he or she is real good in some kind of sport. And that might be the reason why he's not here today. There's some theories out there and allegations that he was in a situation where they were drinking. It is alleged that he met a girl there at this place, and he didn't want to go back with those guys. The question that I haven't heard anyone say anything about, who was that young lady? Was she a high school or college student? Was she just a local person he met at the place? What race was she? Did she have any prior knowledge of this man? Were they able to have been students together as the boys were at the local high school and community college? And what happened to her? Now, when you answer those questions, you can determine whether there were
on North Shore and Church Road
suicidal deal going on or murder.
Now, Doc,
if you answer those questions,
those are good questions to have answered, and I hope Attorney Ben Crump and Al Sharpton and Tyler Perry and others that are involved in this case, they have come to Mississippi. Al Sharpton preached at the funeral. Ben Crump invited him in. Tyler Perry came in and put up $50,000 for any information leading to the arrest of anyone involved in this act, if it in fact was a murder. Now, a third person, though, Doc, and this is some strange things, nobody associated that was on the trip has been arrested or charged with any crime, but a third person has been arrested for allegedly threatening witnesses in the investigation of Mr. Wells' death.
Of course, you don't want nobody coming in, interfering in that investigation that would probably contaminate it. So therefore, they don't want people coming in, making allegations, talking about stuff they heard or won't be believing, because outsiders, I told you before, and you know it, just not welcome, even with evidence, when someone is killed here in this state. They don't want outsiders participating in it. And that's why the only way Trump and his friends, Perry and others, would find out about this thing, they would have to spend $2 or $3 million and send informers and spies in this state and let them hang around up in that area and investigate this thing undercover. And they're going to have to be Caucasians. Then they might find out something if the money is high. If they have $3 or $4 million to give to people to talk, poor folks, even when they are lower middle class, will talk if the price is right. That case can be discovered. And then if you find that it was a suicide, you will not be surprised. Or you might find that it was something else. But it can be determined even without an autopsy.
Well, they paid for a second autopsy. Mr. Crump, Mr. Tyler Perry, and Al, and the rest of the folks chipped in, and they paid for a second autopsy in Washington, D.C. Now, Doc, I understand when the body arrived, it had missing organs.
Well, according to my information, that is normal in cases like this. They don't send all the organs because they found some bruises on the back of his head or neck or something like that. And they have to keep certain organs, according to my information, until they can get a report and see what the real problems were.
Well,
so you don't send all of that until later, but you have to request it, and you have to be very, very stern about getting their body parts. But then if you wait so long, it's going to not be worth investigating because the body part is going to rot. So there is a system set up where you can't win in a situation like that in most cases unless you do some immediate action, take some immediate action on those things and come where the body is or where the part is. And then you have to get special permission to do it. And who's going to allow someone from out of state, even with credentials, to come here and use the Mississippi lab and their body parts and see what's going on in this case? I don't think that would be happening anytime soon. They would then accuse them of tampering with the evidence. I mean, the outsiders.
Doc, you're telling me that as a parent, my child's involved in a accident or a altercation that led to his death, and you're going to harvest organs without my permission? You're telling me that that's allowable?
It's allowable and is nothing new. And the thing you do when you get in a situation like this and the parents are bold enough to start talking about it and challenging it and demand that something happen, you find that then they retaliate against the parent. I was just finding some content today that the boy's mother, Miss Walmsley, has been accused of doing something in the nursing profession. You know, she is a nurse, and some people have filed some kind of allegations against her. I didn't get all the information yet. They are still, and that has her in a position where she is probably under additional stress. And then there's the poor husband. He doesn't do a lot of talking in most cases. She's the spokesperson, the way it's seen. And, you know, he's suffering. And now with this extra burden on her, probably trying to figure out whether she can keep her nursing license certifications or not, you're going to find it's going to be hard and hard. That's what we call whipping one down, whipping them down so they could be stressed out and just say, give me $700,000-$800,000 and I'll just go on and pray and let this pass. Say, I can't handle it anymore.
Doc, beating people down, you can beat them down physically. You know, we all remember the movie Roots with Kunta Kinte. That didn't want to be called Toby. And finally, they beat him down to a point that he says, my name is Toby.
That's right.
My name is Toby.
I know that was a movie. I saw that movie. But sometime you're going to find this happening in the future. You're not going to be able to beat these folks down. They're going to say, kill me. Kill me. I'd rather die than be a slave, even though I'm alleged to be a free citizen in this state. And when that happens, you're going to find a shift. It's going to be something like a wind break. is going to be moving all over the country, all over the world, where people that are being abused and accused and know they are being discriminated against because of various reasons, they're going to start standing up. That's why I told you things are going to start changing in America and in the world in a few years. And when you have people that are not afraid to die, where they will say, kill me or give me justice, or you defend yourself and fight until you die with the people that are trying to kill you, that's when you start getting respect. And people then will start thinking about whether they want to die or whether they want to leave you alone and give you your constitutional freedoms, and you have the exact same thing they have. Freedom of expression.
That's not being taught to our community. Our churches don't teach the give me liberty or give me death, that I won't be, rather than be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. They don't teach that.
No, they don't. They should teach it. That's the role of the church. That's the role of the parents. That's the role of the community organizations to tell people, if you done prayed all your life for 500 or 600 years and did nothing happen, you got to start now thinking of it another way. And that's why I always say, and people are going to get tired of this, you have to look at the Bible for support. And then you say to yourself, the Bible is my source. And I'm going to see what it says about self-defense, about looking for my enemies. And it is right there. I've been talking about this now for 2 years, but I'm going to talk about it more. And that is found in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verses 1 through 8. I'm going to talk about this until I worry people to death about it, where the Bible says there's a time and a season for everything under the earth, or we say under the heavens. And it specifies 14 or 15 different things that you can do, and you're supposed to do according to this chapter in the Bible.
I assume it says it's a time to kill.
Time to kill, a time to heal, a time to sow, a time to pluck up, a time to have war, a time for peace. There's about 14 or 15 different things there. And if it's biblically based, that means it was supported and endorsed by the God of mankind. And I have been told for years, if you want to do the right thing, just follow the Bible, and it'll get you where you want to go. But you have to determine what verses and what chapters you are going to use versus allow others to tell you what the Bible said. You have to read it yourself and use those things as good for your situation and not for the situation of others.
Doc, I go to funerals. I don't go to a lot of them, but I go to some. And every one I've ever gone to, they said the person was in a better place. And I don't know how they can know that. The person is in a better place today. That God don't make no mistake. That if Nolan Wells is dead, that God didn't make no mistake, that he's in a better place. I'm having difficulty reconciling that.
Well, it's very simple. If you ask that person that says that he or she is in a better place, ask them one question. Reverend, deacon, sister, brother, would you rather be dead or alive?
Mm-hmm.
Most of them would say, I'd rather be alive. So don't believe that propaganda. They just talk this because they've been told that's what to say. And no man alive, or one that was alive and dead, know whether there's a real heaven or hell in the earth or in the heavens. All of this is man-made speculation. All of this is a European-based ideology that's been told since the 1800s, and way proud of them, really about the 1700s, and before. That there is a heaven and there's a hell. And I've been telling folks for years that is the figment of one's imagination, sir. Don't nobody know whether there's a heaven or hell. You believe that through faith only.
Doc, I'm getting a signal that our time is rapidly coming to a close. And I want to say that to the Wells family, our hearts bleed for you. We cry out for you. We want justice in this case. We want whatever evidence there is to be brought out. We want to share it with everybody else, whether it pinches or comforts. We need to know the truth. And for those who committed this act, or however this young man met his demise, they say the truth will set you free. So it's important. Now, the latest update is that Edward James Porter, 40 years old, was arrested on charges of transmitting threatening communication in interstate commerce. He has been arrested on charges of communicating threatening information over interstate commerce.
And that is a serious felony. He can get some real time for that if he is prosecuted.
If he is black, he is certainly going to get some serious time.
I guarantee you, but
Mr. Wells is dead and nobody has been arrested on any charges.
And many have not been investigated yet. There were hundreds of folks on that island, I understand. And I bet they haven't investigated or even questioned most of them. And they will not be questioned unless the Wells family can get a lot of investigators together and some of the top lawyers in the country to work on this case for them. And that's going to take about $10 million to do that.
Wow.
So if they don't have access to that kind of money, the state will be determining the outcome.
And justice has to be bought.
You have to buy it if you want real justice.
Wow. Doc, we're getting ready to close out, but they tell me that a black bear has been spotted near the reservoir around Fannin, the town of Fannin in Rankin County. Now, I grew up in Mississippi. I never saw no black bear, and I've been in the woods all my life.
Well, see, people are encroaching on the bears' territory and environment now. They're building these subdivisions, and these rich folks going out in these mountain areas now where they used to have those farms. They don't farm there anymore. They're building those mansions. They're paving the streets. They have all these people living now where the animals used to roam free. And the one thing I can say, I don't feel sorry for that black bear. Nothing going to happen to him. But I guarantee you, if you have a black man running around in those subdivisions, looking around and going in folks' garbage cans and looking under the house and in the cars, in the back seats, looking for something, I guarantee you something will be taking place within probably 2 hours.
He'd be dead.
He'll be dead because they say he is trespassing. But now they're going to grab the bear, throw him in a net, and take him about 10 miles down in the woods and turn him loose. And he can come back the next day. They're going to take him 30 miles the next time. And if he keeps on coming back, they're going to catch him and put him in a zoo. They probably bring him to Jackson. And if they put him into Jackson Zoo, I know then they won't have to worry about it.
Why is that?
I'm not going to say.
Doc, our time is up. To those of you, we thank you for visiting with us this afternoon. Look forward to seeing you again on Friday. Once again, we'll bring you current information and the topics and subjects that nobody else covers in the depth that we can. Nobody has the time to spend on issues that involving black people like we do. You can't get it on the local news channels, JTV, WLBT, Channel 12. You can't get it there. You have to get it over at We Believe Studios. And the information that you do get on WYAB on the radio station over there with Clay Edwards and Kim Wade is so different than the information here. We believe that the truth is what everybody wants to find associated with all of these cases, whether it's the hanging in the backyard, the hanging at Valley State University, the death of Nolan Wells, and any other crimes that are going on in our state. We got to bring light where there is darkness. And we intend to cover these stories here at We Believe with Doc and Sock. Doc, any parting shouts? Tell the people how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Well, folks, I've been telling you for some time, if you want to hear the real news, stuff that I can't say on We Believe, you need to call us at 601-201-1957, and we'll come to your area and give you the speech and the information you need. They can tell you the real news and how you can put together a prioritized corrective action plan to solve your problems in certain areas of activity in 30, 60, and 90 days. We give plans, step-by-step plans with results if you work with them. We can't tell you these things on this show. It'll make you feel that your life is short and you want to live a long time. You don't want to be like the black bear and be a human. Not good. Going to happen to you. No good. Unless you're put in a zoo somewhere in a certain county.
You don't want to be in the Jackson Zoo. No. I'll tell you that. You want to be loose out in Fannin, but you don't want to be in the Jackson Zoo. Doc, as always, it's been a great show. Until we come back to our viewers on Friday at 5:30, we want y'all to stay safe and good night.
Thank you. Okay.